Sanjiv Bhasin joins in on the show right now to talk about what he's making of the market right now. Sanjiv, hi, good morning. Good to have you on ET now as always. Sanjiv, just so many critics out there saying that, we are reaching that frothy limit. There is some sign of exuberance in the market, at least in pockets. What is it that you're suggesting that the retail participants do? Book profits or continue to enjoy the ride?
Yeah, good morning, Aisha. Welcome to new highs, not only here, but on the Dow, on all the indices. So the same simple saying is you can't run with the run with the hares and hunt with the hounds. Either you are long and in there or you keep doubting and waiting for corrections. Just to disclose, mutual funds are still sitting on cash and they are trying to time the market. NAVs have underperformed the Nifty miserably. And the FIs, arrogance and ignorance go hand in hand. So the money supply is so humongous because you are left out and a global rally is there. So take it back a few months back, and when we were there on New Year picks on the first of budget, and we told you that this is a buy and hold market. Now there can be short-term corrections which are obviously imminent when you've had a parabolic run, but enjoy the party as long as it is there. We'll see when it gets over.
So not getting over anytime soon at least. But Sanjiv, for those who have missed out on it still, and one is seeing that we are seeing an across-the-board participation, right? Some of the blue chips, the large caps, of course, have been the first to move. Small and mid caps as well, holding at life highs. How is it that you put fresh money to work right now? Any stocks that you would recommend?
Yeah, so Aisha, as a disclosure, we'll give you these picks, but these are some of our client holding. We must take it with that disclosure. So the top of the line obviously would be that you be with the blue chips. Now, whether you are with some IT, last week I was on your Hindi show and I said HCL Tech, whatever the earnings will outperform along with Tech Mahindra. By the way, Tech Mahindra was my top pick, if you recall, around the new year and the budget time. Now, my top pick here is Titan. I've done a whole survey of what the new sales are doing, what the eyewear business, it's humongous. And I've been traveling city to city. Plus, you have next month Rakahi. And nowadays, Rakahi sees as much of deliverance on, because of our emotional touch, rather even as much as Diwali. So I think Titan, even though it's an expensive stock, must be in your portfolio. I don't rule out 3,500 coming on Titan by Diwali. Now, the others would be select stocks in cement. I think ACC and Ambuja have weathered all storms. They can't trade at a 1/3% discount on EV to EBITDA on Ultratech. So ACC, Ambuja, I'm very bullish, particularly ACC. Given the reach, given that it's one of the lowest cost producers, and given that Maharashtra is going to see a huge humongous, spending by the government. At 1,800, ACC must be in your portfolio for a target of 2,200. Same with Ambuja, 470, 475 is on the card. The fourth name is a small mid-cap called ABFRL. And you are aware of the brands and the spending pattern. Louis Philippe, Van Heusen, Alan Solly, you name it. Plus the Pantaloon chain and the youth outlook, that is that American Eagle and all those brands are playing out brilliantly. This stock has corrected from 350, which it hit at its high, to close to 210. I think this is a must-have for a 50% upside. Aside from that, some of the IT names still look good, HCL Tech and Tech Mahindra. And my favorites, Pyramal Pharma, Chemplast, Jubilant Ingrevia, and last but not least, Chambal Fertilizer. Chambal is not just a play on fertilizer and urea, but their shipping business is doing exceedingly well, which is one of their subsidiaries. So at 265, Chambal is a steal.
So loads of stocks that Sanjiv has doled out for our viewers because he believes that there is a lot of upside potential. I'm just curious to get in your take on the charts then, Kunal, maybe just, some of these names like an Ambuja or an ACC, what would be your take?
So from the cement pack, we've seen ACC and Ambuja getting into recovery post the sell-off which these stocks had shown in the month of January and February. Now, the short-term charts are still into a consolidation for both of these names. I think if I'm not wrong, ACC and Ambuja both are struggling to hold slightly below their 200 moving averages respectively. So I would expect that maybe these stocks are one leg up in terms of recovery from the Jan-Feb lows, but then they've yet to confirm a breakout on the short-term chart. So possibly if these stocks, say for example, Ambuja Cement crosses about that 450 mark, we can expect a double breakout, a swing breakout, which is the previous high breakout for Ambuja Cement, as well as the 200-day moving average breakout. So the chart patterns are positive, but let's hope that these stocks provide the breakout also pretty soon.
Sanjiv, I'm quite curious about one of the stocks that you identified, Pyramal Pharma, right? And this has been a rank underperformer, so to speak. I think it's lost about 23 odd percent and still in the negative year to date as well. What makes you so gung-ho about the prospects of Pyramal Pharma?
Well, Aisha, firstly, I suggested this about a month and a half back at 70 on your show. It hit 100. I'm up 50% on my portfolio. And I gave this game plan that the stock corrected from 200. The original business of the Pyramals was actually pharma. They sold their blockbuster dust to Abbott, and then they got into real estate. On the API and on the contract farming, they're doing extremely well. The numbers are belying that. Let me also give you a disclosure. The Pyramals have issued warrants at 127. So I think 127 is a minimum threshold which is coming. We'll wait for quarterly results, but pharma is coming back very, very strongly, and Pyramal takes the cake. So don't underestimate the group, because I think the worst may be over when the demerger and the other over leverage was there. Now the numbers are showing you extreme strength. And as a disclosure, from 72 levels, we have a lot of position in that, both for our clients and personally. And I will not sell this stock till 150.
You also had recently that Nuvama note coming in on Pyramal Pharma. They're pretty bullish on the stock, talking about a target price of close to 130, saying that they are expecting a strong product pipeline as well to drive growth down the line. Sanjiv, curious about your take on Reliance Industries. It clearly continues to remain a big talking point, particularly on the financial demerger, etc. What's your view on how the stock has been moving off late now that it's perched at about 2,800 levels?
Yeah, good morning. So, Avan, this is what the Bears' final nail in the coffin was, Reliance and HDFC Bank. They both don't give up. And how will you get the Nifty lower or the Bank Nifty? So hats off to Reliance. Just when it was seeming that we are into a correction, which we all were hoping for, Reliance comes out with this demerger. Now, it's anybody's guess what the real playout will be. But imagine the threshold of a financial service business like Reliance. You remember how they got into telecom in a big way, and the competition had to either move out or consolidate. And I think that is forthcoming now in their financial services business. By the way, these are all precursors to some of the large banks which have been underway on acquisition and so on, as the Bajaj Group has been. And I think that Reliance Financials will actually unfold, a lot of value creation which is there on the books. We know that their petchem and the oil and gas has reached a climax. It's only encashment of the investments. The retail business and the telecom is the new buzzword for them. So very, very innovative, and I would expect Reliance actually to lead the charge to 20,000 on the index.
Okay, brilliant at that. Sanjiv, also wanted to get your opinion on some of the auto names as well. The talk in the market seems that some of these stocks, or rather most of these stocks, are looking overvalued right now. Do you also believe, and amidst new launches almost happening on a weekly basis across the stable, two-wheelers and four-wheelers?
Well, you can't envy so much of a run, Aisha. Who thought that Tata Motors from 400 will be 600 like this? And my favorite, Ashok Leyland, is hit new highs. Ashok Leyland is headed for 200. As a disclosure, it's in my portfolio from 30 rupees, and I have no intention to sell it ever. Secondly, Maruti. Please add fresh money to Maruti and Hero Moto. They have just broken out along with Bajaj. Hero Moto, Maruti will lead the charge. And in the two-wheeler, you can add a TVS motor. But Ashok Leyland, Hero Moto, Maruti are three of my top picks.
We're getting lots more top recommendations from you, Sanjiv. But for a moment, let's just shift the focus to the editor's radar. And one of the stocks that you just flagged off, Tata Motors. Let's just talk a little bit more in detail about it. The SUV segment as well, getting quite competitive. And you've been talking about autos as well being in favor.
See, I've gone on record and I've said that Tata Motors will be stock of the year. So, with the underlying disclosure here that this is stock which, in a sense, we've been very bullish on as a channel. And there was logic when we turned bullish on it. But, sometimes you could ask yourself is that what is next? And that's the question you could ask yourself, what is next for Tata Motors now in the short to medium term? JLR is going to be coming out with good numbers. Cash flows would be positive. They are getting their operating leverage and the financial leverage benefit. But all that I think is something what markets know. Yeah. And because markets know all this, this number I think is 60% higher. Now you could ask yourself, what's next? Now we always look at Tata with EVs and JLR, but there's another business which they have, which is the CVs. And this is where for the first time they're actually losing market share. Bhasin Saab talked about Ashok Leyland hitting an all-time high. Why is Ashok Leyland hitting an all-time high? That is because Tata Motors is losing market share in the CV and the HCV market, which in a sense is a very high margin and a bread and a butter business, and a business which is in a cyclical uptrend. Second, the SUV market is getting competitive. Like it or not, everybody wants to buy an SUV, everybody wants to own an SUV, badi gaadi, choti gaadi, we buy an SUV, that is important. But when you have 40 brands in the SUV market, when the new launches are happening in the SUV market, that means the pricing power with some of these SUV brands is going to go away. Sedan is losing market share, inventory losses will start there, but on an aggregate basis, SUV market also will get brutally competitive. So that's the question you got to ask yourself, is that what is next for Tata Motors now? I mean, don't get trapped with momentum in Tata Motors. Ask yourself a question, why? A question which we were insisting everybody they should have asked why not at the beginning of the year. Now you got to ask yourself what's next.
So, but will CV do the trick for...
they're losing market share. I'm sure Tatas will figure out a strategy, but as of now, they're losing market share.
Okay, so that's important. Don't get caught up in the momentum when it comes to Tata Motors. Let's discuss another stack of stocks, and it's interesting because we're monitoring some of these names then largely on the back of the fact that these stocks are trading above even the highest target price recommendations, and these stocks have been very closely tracked by analysts, Nikunj.
You know, somewhere you got to ask yourself is that's how markets move. I mean, markets may always overshoot in the short term, and then the analyst recommendations they normally catch up, and that is what happens in a typical bull market. So while there is merit to say that okay, DVs and SEAT and even a Glenmark, the analyst targets have not been upgraded. But my limited point here is that this quarterly number will actually be very important for some of these group of stocks. ICICI Securities does not have relevance because of the merger now. Look at MRF. The difference between the current market price and the highest target is 20%. SEAT again 20%. So tire is one category where if numbers are not strong, you could see a sell-off because analyst targets versus current market price, if numbers are not strong, the stock is going to go down. Yeah. Similarly, DVs. The stock has run up and analysts have not caught up. If numbers are not strong, DVs again could come crash landing down. DVs, what is the halo stock? Came crash landing down, has given you a bounce back. Analysts have not upgraded. So if you're looking at this matrix here, tire stocks and DVs as a category, as a company.
Okay, there you have it. Those are the stocks on the editor's radar. Aisha, would be interesting as well to get in Sanjeev's take on these names.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tires, Sanjeev, we've been talking about MRF hitting that 1 lakh mark, the entire tire pack surging along with autos. You think opportunity there still?
Well, like Nikunj pointed out, any disappointment in numbers or even meeting of expectation may see profit booking. But who's to complain? 180, Apollo Tire is 400 plus. MRF is above 1 lakh. Look at SEAT. So, look at Balkrishna Industries. So I can go on, because these are pedigree names. We own some of them as a disclosure. But like we said, Aisha, the best is that targets keep getting revised upwards. And the same people who were gaining for 15,000 on the index are now talking of 21,000. So markets chain at a dime. It's the money flow, and it will always chase the beauties. Yes, DV's lab is been a big outperformer, and I think that will continue. In the pharma space, in contract farming, in API, it is doing extremely well, and the numbers will be there. But like we said, there is little room for disappointment there is little room for upside because most of the numbers are pricing in. However, if you took a contrarian view, look what IT has done. For all the soothsayers and the FIs who were negative on IT with JP Morgan's biggest downgrade, sorry, as a disclosure, the index is up 21% from the day they downgraded. In the last 3 weeks, it's up 8.5%. I mean, Infosys, Tech Mahindra, LTIM have taken your breath away despite being lackluster numbers. So the sheer underweight ownership is going to drive growth. Titan will come out with this quarterly results, which will be equal to the last 3 quarters. Mind my saying, this stock will be 3,500 by Diwali.
Okay. The other stock that you talked about, Sanjeev, and I'm quite curious, ABFRL. Why ABFRL and not a Trent? Because the typical migration or gravitation towards any of these retail names is towards Trent. And, that's why I guess it commands that premium that it trades at.
Correct. But then you can't have the discount trading at ABFRL given the type of brands they have. Louis Philippe, Alan Solly, Van Heusen, Simon Carter, and now coming up with the American Eagle on the youth front, their Pantaloon acquisition. The Birlas are catering again. What is Mukesh Ambani's vision? It's of 100 crore people. That's why he thinks big. Same is the case with the Birlas. They're thinking of the public, the real public which buys these. We all go and own these stocks or shirts or pants, whatever, because the affordability factor plays out. And I think that recent acquisition saw downgrades, but over a period of time, that will be cash accretive. At 210, only you will make 50% gains in this stock rather than a trend. But like I said, the Tatas are the best group, I would say, arguably in the country, and no holds barred. Trent is again an outperformer, but my dark horse is ABFRL for a target of 300 by the end of the year.
Problem with the ABFRLs, Bhasin Saab, is that they're acquiring too much and they're spreading themselves too thin. You made an acquisition of TCNS. You wanted to reduce debt, that's why you got Flipkart. Then you've done a share swap deal. You are getting Gallery Lafayette in India. You are trying to move into ethnic wear. You are acquiring small niche stakes in some of the designers. Are they losing their focus?
Well, yes and no. This is the type of consolidation you want. Birla's has always been a cement and a aluminium or whatever made. It's always an industrial house. Now they're furrow into financial services. By the way, AB Capital has more than doubled since when I recommended. And I think ABFRL is the next way forward. Look, Nikunj, this happens. Motherson Sumi went through a trying period in the last 1 year. I was very upbeat on this from 65 levels. But again, they acquired left, right and center. Even there is. But the stock is up now 50% because people realize that if growth is back and spending patterns are picking up, then sooner rather than later, volumes and margins will come to reasonable terms. And even though, like you said, there is this big debate on the acquisition, the price is in my favor. Bhav Bhagwan che. जब भाव मेरे फेवर में है तो मुझे कोई दो राय नहीं.
Stock idea right now, which you would say that look, it's a fresh idea. I have not spoken about it anywhere, and it's the first time I'm speaking about it, at least on media.
Which one is that?
No, which is a new idea, a new gangbuster idea from Mr. Sanjiv Bhasin stable.
SW Solar.
ये तो बजट पे बात करी थी इस पे तो ये तो 6 महीने पुराना है.
अरे अभी कुछ भी नहीं हुआ.
6 महीने पुराना है, जूना है.
जो शेयर 750 जाएगा निकुंज जी, वो 330 रुपए पे आपको मिल रहा है. आपको बता दूं, अगले साल एबिटा अगले 2 क्वार्टर में एबिटा पॉजिटिव और 12,000 से 15,000 crore की ऑर्डर बुक. So you can imagine this makes 12% flat margins. 350 is the running cost, and as yet there's nothing come from the parent as far as gigawatts. You can imagine what this stock holds. It just has an equity of 18 crore. SW Solar is headed to 750. Buy it, hold it, and forget it.
All right, Mr. Bhasin, appreciate your time. So glad you could join us, and we should perhaps try and block your calendar much more. You just give us this new dynamism and high energy early in the morning.
Thank you, Nikunj. Thank you.